Welcome back, AG Sports. I'm sorry for the day off, guys. I will try to not let that happen again. Unfortunately, there have been some things that come up in just my personal life stuff that kind of restrain some of my time, so I don't have as much time to devote to breaking down each individual game right now. But in saying that, a couple of things I want to also add. One, probably from here on out, throughout the rest of the season, at least throughout until the playoffs, there probably won't be a lot of early Monday morning, Sunday afternoon picks any longer. And it's not because I'm not breaking them down or because we don't have the information to do so, but now it's more so because the books have that information. If you've been with this channel for a while, if you've been watching since the preseason, which is when this channel really got going, you know that the benefit to making those bets early and to doing all this information like Sunday night and even Sunday in the daytime, while the games are going on, is beating the number. You're beating the syndicates and beating everything else because for the most part, our algorithms were going to give us a line that was just a little bit sharper than what the books were going to put out. And a lot of that is because the books, for the most part, use strictly data. They don't use our eyeballs, all that kind of stuff. So now that we're in the part of the season where the books have become as sharp as they're going to get for the most part, there's really not a lot of beating them there. It's not a lot of value any longer in just being early. It's not enough anymore, especially for small individual bettors. In case you have not heard this, in the beginning of the year, it's your biggest and best time to bet. And that is, again, exactly because of what I said. The books have not become as sharp as they're going to get yet. There's not a lot of data. Everybody's kind of in the same boat, and you have a slight edge in that you can pinpoint the couple of games and couple of angles that you really like, whereas at this point of the year, there's really not a lot of edge for you to do it that way. From here on out, the picks are probably going to actually come Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe even closer into Friday, because at this point, it's going to take a lot longer. We need to go back, evaluate film, not just look at the stats, read through the data, kind of see who's playing what type of game. So even for somebody like myself who, I have the Game Pass and Sunday Ticket and all that kind of stuff, it's going to take a little bit of time because I need to go back and actually watch the games, watch the film, see how it broke down. And a lot of times, unfortunately, if you don't have access to watching all the games, unfortunately, you're not going to get the full story. As I'm sure you're already aware, stats aren't everything. And a lot of times, for example, one of the things that I just recently watched, that Chiefs game back, going back, rewatching it, and yes, it was a Sunday night game, but still watching it after the fact, you can kind of break it down a little bit better, or at least I can, because I know kind of what to expect, and I'm not just sitting there with bated breath. So the Raiders, obviously they turned the ball over several times, and Carr specifically, and it really caused an issue. And because if you look at the stats, it looks like, wow, the Chiefs just really ran them out of the gym. And yeah, they kind of did on the scoreboard, but the Raiders had several big plays that either came back because of a flag or they fumbled or just didn't connect or whatever. And those plays, if they don't have those, I don't want to call them flukes, but if they don't have those turning points, that game is way different. It's a lot closer, if nothing else. So again, I just want to let you guys know that I am still going to try to put videos out, Monday, at least Monday through Friday, or at least 4 days a week. But all of that being said, for right now, I'm probably going to focus on 2 to 3 games a week and really nail those down. And one of the other reasons of that is last week we had just had a terrible week. It was the worst week in the regular season so far, and a lot of that is because of exactly what I was just saying. It's just a turning point in the season. The books are sharp. Everybody's information's coming in. So it ended up going 3-6 last week. Again, worst week so far. It's actually the first losing week we've had the entire season. And no excuses, guys. It happens. And if you bet long enough, and if you've been in this field long enough, you're gonna have losing weeks, and I'm no exception. Unfortunately, it's not the first one, and I'm sure it won't be the last one. But just to do a quick breakdown, Ravens -7 was a pick. That just looked ugly from the start, man. The Ravens just looked off. They could not counter that Dolphins blitz, and I don't know why, but John Harbaugh just did not adjust to it. Rams -3 was another pick. Same thing there. The Rams just looked all out of sorts. Obviously, the loss of Robert Woods was bigger than a lot of us expected, if you expected it at all. I know a lot of people didn't even realize he was out. Jaguars at Colts -10. The Colts really just took their foot off the gas. It looked like they were winning. They were in control the whole game. The game was never in doubt, and they just almost refused to score coming down the stretch. They just were more concerned with milk and clock than scoring. Eagles Broncos over 44.5. Now this one I will say, just in full transparency, I took this over 44.5, and then when it was live and they didn't score for the first half of the first quarter, I did take over 41. So I did hit on that one, and I did actually tweet that out. But the initial play didn't pan out, and it's exactly because of what I just said. The first 6 minutes of the first quarter was just extremely slow with a lot of flags, and we missed it by a point, I believe, or a point and a half. But those didn't work out. As far as the first half bets, a little bit of more success there, sort of. Saints-Titans under 21.5. That did work out. Again, kind of a slower paced game like we expected. Eagles at the Broncos -2.5. That one did not work out. I thought the Broncos were going to get out to a better running game. Didn't happen. It just took them a little bit longer to get going. And, unfortunately, the Broncos just never really got it going. And when they did get a couple of good plays, it was just a little too late. Jaguars at the Colts -6 for the first half. That one did actually work out. That was when the Colts were still actually caring about the game. So they were able to pull that one out for us. Raiders money line for the first half. That did not pan out. Now, I will say it still probably looked like the best bet on the board given what happened. Raiders are having a little bit more success in the first half and really into the third quarter with just some deeper plays before they got just totally desperate and started messing everything up. So 2-2 there. That wouldn't have been a bad day if it wasn't for the individual picks. Now, the one individual pick that we did get right was the Panthers Cardinals under 44.5. That actually landed exactly on 44. So a little bit of a sweat on that one, but it worked pretty much the way we were expecting. Colt McCoy played it very, very slow, conservative. The Panthers wanted to run the ball a lot, and that's just kind of how it worked out. And that brings me to the point I was talking about. At this point of the season, again, we want to know what style the teams play and what style they have some issues with. So a couple I can rattle off the top of my head. Chargers. Chargers cannot stop the run. They have a huge issue with that, and if a team can successfully run on them, like the Cowboys and like the Ravens, they really don't have a great shot at winning that game unless they make some major changes. And, it's hard to win when the other team has the possession of the ball for so long. The Eagles, another good one here, and this is actually what we're going to get into, Eagles and Saints. The Eagles have really transitioned their team to be a run-first team, and they've been running, and they've had a lot of success doing it, but they have been running against teams that aren't necessarily great at stopping the short yardage stuff. For example, the Broncos. The Broncos are great at stopping explosive plays, and you saw it against the Cowboys. But they're not the best team when it comes to stopping the short underneath stuff. That's not really their forte. They're trying to prevent big explosive plays. So when you play them with a slow running game like the Eagles do, it's hard to win. Now, what about the Saints? The Saints are actually amazing at stopping the run. They are the number one rushing defense per DVOA. They only allow a 45% success rate against the rush, and that is extremely important because the Eagles found out the hard way the first few games of the season that they really can't rely on their pass game. One, they don't have a lot of great tenured all-star receivers, and by a lot, I mean they have 0 receivers that fit that build. Secondly, though, Jalen Hurts, he is a rookie, and he's showing it every time you ask him to win the game with his arm. He makes bad reads. He can't read defenses sometimes. He struggles. He throws interceptions. He throws picks that should be interceptions that guys just drop, like Surtain did last week. He struggles, and that's an issue. Because when they play the Saints are going to take away that run game. I'm telling you right now, that's what they're going to focus on. That's what they're going to do. Especially when they go back and watch film of the last 2 or 3 weeks, they're going to realize the Eagles have been running a lot. The Saints, on the other hand, because they don't have Jameis Winston, and even when they did, honestly, they like to play the short underneath stuff as well. They like to do, dump offs, quick screens, quick passes. Now they will try some deeper stuff down the field, and Trevor Siemian has a decent arm, I guess. It's not amazing, obviously, but it's good enough to get the job done sometimes, kind of put up some 50-50 balls. But for the most part, they're going to try to keep it shorter. They realize the limitations of Siemian. Sean Payton does a good job of kind of hiding those, disguising those. keeping things, just kind of keeping the trains running on time. Now, Alvin Kamara obviously is a huge factor here because if he's healthy, the run game is fine for the Saints. If he's not only do they struggle with the run game, but they also have. But without Kamara, they really don't have offensive weapons, period. They're reliant on guys like Marcus Callaway to get anything done, and it's very hard to run an offense like that. And Sean Payton is a great coach, but you got to have something to work with. And so the reason I'm pointing all these things out, and the reason I'm pointing this style of play out, because the Eagles on the defensive side of the ball are not great. They've actually had 3 games where they just did not force any punts whatsoever. So they have given up a lot of overs as far as totals are concerned. But when they play against a team like the Saints, who have an issue moving the ball, even when you're not really doing much to stop them, just because of the personnel that they're working with, I really like the under here. It's at 42.5 right now, but the under in this game looks to be the way to go. You can break this down into, if you want to take the first half, that's fine as well. But the important part here, like I said, is that the Eagles are going to probably be playing with one arm tied behind their back, if not both arms, because that run game is going to get taken away, and they're going to ask Hurts to do a lot. If you watch the first few games of the season, you realize Hurts did not do anything until the other team basically said, all right, we're winning, by margin, we'll let you go ahead and pass. And that's exactly what I expect here. I'm not saying that the Saints are going to win this game because offensively they're going to have their own issues, but I think this is going to come down to who makes a mistake first. This is going to be a lot of field position, field goals, all that kind of stuff. At 42.5, I really like it. 41, again, if you are not aware of this, is a key number for these lower scoring games. It's 41, 44, 47, 51. But all of that being said, I'm going to go ahead and take the under in this game while it's still at the 42.5, and I would not be surprised if we see this tick down even to 41. Now, they are playing in Philly, so there is a chance that we'll get some weather help as well, which, again, when you're taking these unders, you just have more outs. You have more ways to win, more ways for that under to hit than you do with the over. With the over, you basically have to hope that everything comes out right. But look who I'm talking to. You guys probably already know that, or you wouldn't be gambling, and you wouldn't be looking on YouTube for gambling stations or channels. Next, so the 3 games I'm going to be breaking down this week: the Saints, the Cowboys, and the Chiefs, and then we're also going to do the Titans game. The Titans game I have not finished the breakdown just yet. I will have that finished shortly, and that'll be the next video that I put out, guys. But this Cowboys-Chiefs game is really interesting. The main thing I like about this game, or that I'm curious about with this game, is the Cowboys do not play a lot of too high safety. They do not do the too high shell thing that apparently everybody else is doing. I'm very curious to see if they will do that. Dan Quinn will adjust defense somewhat to kind of, work with the opponent. But if he does, that could or could not work because the personnel there is not great. But it could work, obviously, because the Chiefs have shown that they struggle with that. Now, on the other side of the ball, the Chiefs' defense has been god-awful. And, again, if you watch that Raiders game, you saw the Raiders had a lot of successful plays downfield, and they just had some kind of ball control issues that caused them to not score or to not keep possession or whatever with those plays. Assuming the Cowboys don't make that same mistake, and, again, that's an assumption because it could go wrong at any point. But I don't think that the Chiefs forced those issues. I think those were just kind of coin flip issues that they came up and they happen from time to time. But assuming the Cowboys don't do that and the Chiefs don't have that same luck this week, this should be a higher scoring game, and that's reflected in the 56-point total. I actually like the 56, and that's not the play I'm going to give you here, but I like the 56. And I'm really, really waiting on the halftime total because I think the first half is going to be our best half to take advantage of the total. The Chiefs have only allowed a maximum of 7 points in the second half for, I think, the last 5 weeks. So if you look back at their schedule from the last 5 weeks, there's 2 games where they didn't allow any points to be scored in the second half, and there's 3 games where they only allowed 1 touchdown in the second half. And so if you're going to be laying that over, that's kind of a high over, first of all. But secondly, you got to hope that the Cowboys are able to break through that second half issue and that they're able to continue scoring into that second half. If we take the first half total, which I'm assuming is probably going to be like a 27, somewhere in there, I think you have a better shot there because the Chiefs are probably not going to shut the Cowboys out, and they are probably going to be involved in like a 20 to 21, 2017, something like that kind of first half where you see both teams just kind of having that shootout. And by doing that, you're eliminating that variance in the second half that we've seen with the Chiefs, where they adjust their defense, they make some great coaching adjustments, and they shut out that other team in the second half. I don't want to worry about that. I do like the first half over. However, that line is not out, but that is going to be one of my favorite picks. The other pick that I like here, and this is going to be for like a quarter of a unit, but I do like the Cowboys money line on this one for a few reasons here, but it's going to primarily come down to defense. The Cowboys defense, don't get me wrong, it's not great. They have made some splash plays, but it's not great. They can still get burned, and you saw that in a few games. The one that comes up to my mind is against the Patriots when they ended up going to overtime because they got burned on a double move. They will get burned in this game. You're going to see Tyreek Hill have a good game. You're probably going to see Travis Kelce get a couple of good catches. And if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back, you might see him do some work too. But they will, and they can, I should say, make those splash plays. So if they can get some pressure on Mahomes, make him move, make him drop back a little bit further than he wants to, make that offensive line, struggle a little bit like they have been doing, they can get some interceptions, they can get some takeaways, and if they can get a takeaway or more, the Cowboys' run game will shut the Chiefs down. They will slow the game down. The Chiefs don't have any run stoppers. They don't have a lot of big boys up front. The Cowboys' offensive line should be able to take advantage of that. Now, my concern is that the Cowboys come out trying to run the ball, and they're trying to go from first snap, they try to go to the run game, which could work, in theory. But the problem is if they do that the whole game, there is an issue where they could, take a bad flag. They, go backwards a play or two, and they set themselves up in just bad situations where the Chiefs get the advantage. I would rather them come out trying to pass the game, pass the ball, establish a lead, kind of get that offense going, and then once you get some takeaways or once you have some, margin going, then go to the run game where you can kind of just wind it down at that point. But either way, I think there's definitely several outs here for the Cowboys where they can win this game. It is going to be a hard game. That's why I'm saying it's only a quarter of a unit on the money line. It's usually about plus 115 to 125 right now, so you are going to get some plus money on that. Again, only a quarter of a unit. I am waiting on a few things. So one, if we wait towards kind of closer to the end of the week, you may be able to get Cowboys plus 3 on the spread. I like that play. The 3 may not be a big deal, though, if we have such a high-scoring game where it's over 56 points. 3 points is not really going to do a whole lot for you, but since 3 has come up 19% of the time, 19% of NFL games this year have landed on 3. That's a huge number. I don't remember one single year that we've had that many games land on 3, but for that reason, I do like the plus 3 if it comes up. I don't want to buy the hook, at least not so early in the week, because we may see the Chiefs take some money between now and then. Again, they are a very public team. Aside from that, I also, again, want to see that first half total. I really, really believe that's going to be your best play for this game. And if it is at 24, I like it all the way up to 27, to be totally honest with you. But if it's at 24, I love it. I'm going to smash that over. I don't think we're going to get it that low. I think you are probably going to see something like a 27 coming out. But 27, I still like it. I'm not really taking it any higher than that. I'm not going to go to like 27.5. I really just want to get 27 or lower for that first half. And we're going to rock with that if it comes out. So those are the plays for right now, guys. Again, I am going to be breaking down the upcoming Titans game in the next video. And then from there, we'll probably just focus on those. And we'll go over some tips and some tricks and things like that. Last thing here, guys, I did have a chance to finally update the model as far as algorithms and grades and things like that. Differentials. This is your key number aspect here. So I'm sorry, I said 19%. 17% of games have landed on 3, but the number 2 has shown up 6% of the time. The 6 has shown the games separated by 6 points have happened 7% of the time, and it looks like your key numbers are changing. They're going to be going from they were 3 and 7, so it looks like 3 and 6, and possibly even kind of laying the 2 in there. The 10 is still involved. The 10 has always been kind of like a minor key number, and it looks like that's going to remain the case, at least for now. That being said, guys, that's it for today. Look out for another video. I am going to try to have one out tomorrow afternoon, if not tomorrow morning if possible. But thank you again. Have a great day, and good luck.